What is the difference between an employee and an independent contractor? And why is that concept important in terms of performance of a contract? The difference between an employee and independent contractor is based on control. An employee, the employer exercises an extensive amount of control over the services that or functions that they provide for or on behalf of the business. Okay, the employer will control things like the times of the day that they work, their location of work, the details of the task that they perform, et cetera. And there's more of a direct reporting of responsibilities, of accomplishments, tasks, and transfer of information, et cetera, up the chain to the employer. So in that case, when that level of control exists, it is an employer-employee relationship. No matter what the title of the relationship is, again, it just depends legally on the amount of control that exists. An independent contractor, on the other hand, that level of control is not present. That is, the independent contractor has their own business. They are not an employee of the employer. They perform services, and those services are simply hired out to that independent contractor. So the employer doesn't have that same level of control. They don't control the minute details of how the independent contractor carries out the functions or the duties for or on behalf of the business. So that's the difference. Now, why is that important for contracts? As we'll talk about in a separate video, the ability of an agent who bind or obligate the business in contract is based on the level of authority of that agent or employee. So in this case, an employee is definitely an agent of the business with a certain level of authority to bind the business, and generally to bind the business in any level of work that is in the ordinary course of the business or in the performance of their duties for the business. An independent contractor, on the other hand, generally does not have the authority. That is not expressed. That is, unless the business expressly grants the independent contractor that authority. The independent contractor does not have authority to enter into contracts and to therefore bind the business or obligate the business on those contracts. Rather, they can enter into contracts, obligate themselves, but do not have that requisite level of authority. So that's the separation. That's the difference between independent contractor and an employee for purposes of contract formation.